welcome back. I am Jason Wiersema. This is Tankers Fantasy Football. We got some great waiver wire ads moving into your Week 12 matchups. The fantasy playoffs are fastly approaching, boys. You either have 2 or maybe 3 weeks left of your fantasy regular season, and there's no time to take a loss now, boys, with the fantasy playoffs fastly approaching. But before we get into the waiver wires, you know how we do here at Tankers Fantasy Football. Maybe you take your finger, go down there. You know, I'm waiting for you to go down there and hit that little thumbs up button for me. Maybe you don't. Maybe you throw us a subscription. Maybe you don't. Maybe you go fuck yourself. All right, we got some week 12 waiver wires. Let's get a little bit dicey out there. Marlon Mack did go down with a broken hand. It's his right hand, the hand he carries the ball with. They're saying he's going to miss 3 or 4 games. Jonathan Williams went out there and got 13 carries for 116 yards in his absence in Week 11. Jordan Wilkins is saying he's ready to come back. He didn't have him on the Monday practice report, even though they don't technically practice Mondays since the game on Thursday. They make him release a practice report on Monday, but I don't know. If Jordan Wilkins doesn't get in a full practice either Tuesday or Wednesday before Thursday's game, I think Jonathan Williams is probably the top waiver wire ad in the running back category this week. We got some Bo Scarborough. I mean, who knows what's really going on in this Detroit Lion backfield. J.D. McKissick was like the waiver ad of the week for a lot of people last week. Bo Scarborough went out there and got like 14 carries or 15 carries for like 50 yards and a touchdown. I mean, if you're in desperation play, I feel like this guy can probably go out there and get you RB3 flex play this coming week. All right, moving in some wide receivers. Got some Deebo Samuel. He was on the waiver wire last week with the 8 catches for 100 yards. He had another 8 catches for over 100 yards this week. Sexy Deluxe. The only thing I'd worry about is when Kittle comes back, meaning when Emmanuel Sanders gets back to full health, it won't be this Sexy Deluxe for you. But, I mean, if he's still somehow on your waiver wire, I mean, I'm willing to blow the fab load on a Deebo Sanders. James Washington. Not really too excited about this ad, but Juju might miss this game. Deontay Johnson might miss this game. He's got 13 of 16 targets for 208 yards and a score over his last 3 games, has James Washington. So maybe him and Mason Rudolph are starting to rekindle that college report they got going on there. But I don't know, I'm a little bit afraid. Steelers passing game is pretty puke, filth, garbage. But if you were in a desperation state moving into Week 12, I guess you could take a stab at him as a wide receiver there at Randall Cobb. Might be, you know, I said it was more of like a smoke and mirror situation, kind of maybe more avoid Randall Cobb going to the waiver wires last week, but he has got it sexy 2 weeks in a row. He's got 6 for 101 and 4 for 115, both with a touchdown these last 2 weeks. For the next game, he does have versus the New England Patriots in New England, which is pretty tough sled. I mean, Amari Cooper's a little bit banged up, so that's helping Randall Cobb's production as well. Cooper only paid like 55% of the snaps for the Cowboys last week. But if Randall Cobb's still on your waiver, I'd look to give him a look. We had some Mecole Hardman. We had some Tyreek Hill go down in this Monday Night Football game. We don't know how long he's looking to be out with the right hammy. Hardman's their speedster in town when Hill is on the sideline. So, I mean, if he is somehow still on your waiver wire, I would also give him and maybe even Demarcus Robinson a look if available as well on your waiver wire. We're digging a little bit deep here. Digging pretty deep on this one. We got some Tim Patrick for the Denver Broncos. Last season, he closed last season catching 19 of 30 passes for 242 yards over the last 4 games last season. He has the size. He's 6'4". He has like 4.5 speed. Runs in the 40-yard dash. I mean, this is super, this is super speculative app. If you're in desperation play, I mean, he caught 4 of 8 targets last week for 77 yards. I mean, he's not really like some guy I'm looking, this is just like a deeper league situation, kind of a wait and see. I don't know. Go out there and get yourself some Tim Patrick if you got nothing else better to do. All right, moving on to some tight ends. We got some Noah Fant. Noah Fant has had 24 targets since the departure of Emmanuel Sanders. That is actually 1 more than Courtland Sutton has at 23. I'm feeling Noah Fant out there. He's looking spry. He's looking good. The Denver passing game is kind of still a shit show with the quarterback situation. But if you are in a tight end need, maybe you got Evan Ingram who's looking like he might miss another game in Week 12. I'd go out there and get you some Noah Fant. We got some Hollister. Talked about him last week, but he is entering the bye. He entered the bye this last week. Now he's coming back off of it. I mean, he's been the tight end 8 in fantasy points per game at 12.2 with 6 or more targets in 3 or 4 of his last starts so far since the Will Dissly situation. So, you know, kind of all in on the house there. I got some Ryan Griffin. He's got 4 for 62 and 2, 6 for 50 and 5 for 109 and 1 in Griffin's 3 full games Griffin's last 3 full games as the Jets starter. I mean, and his schedule just gets super sexy deluxe. This is like a make-believe sexy deluxe schedule in these next 3 games for the tight ends. He's got the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Miami Dolphins in these next 3 weeks. So, I mean, I got Ingram. I also have O.J. Howard's bitch ass went out there and fucking zeroed me this last week. So O.J. Howard's heading his ass to the waiver wire. I think Ryan Griffin, maybe even Cameron Brate, he went out there and got like 10 targets, or got like 10 receptions for the Buccaneers last week, can also get in on my waiver wire. I'll probably put a bid on Ryan Griffin and then a contemporary bid or whatever the fuck on what the hell was I just talking about? Talking about Ryan Griffin. Oh, and Cameron Brate. Losing my goddamn mind out there, boys. Losing my goddamn mind. So if you can't get the Ryan Griffin, you can't get the Hollister, I would look to go for the Cameron Brate, because I think O.J. Howard is in the doghouse and he's looking to sleep there for the rest of the season, boys. Got a couple quarterbacks. We got some Brissett. He scored 16 or more fantasy points in 6 of his 8 full games this season. He's got the Texans defense. Give him the 6th most fantasy points. 2 opposing quarterbacks thus far this season. And T.Y. Hilton is maybe even thinking about making a comeback. So that would definitely up the stock of Brissett moving forward. And also we got a Baker Mayfield versus the Dolphins if you are also in desperate need of a streamer play. We got some defensive matchups this week we're looking to stream as well. We got the Lions versus the Redskins, the Browns taking on the Dolphins, and the Raiders taking on the Jets if you're in desperate need of a defensive filler spot just to get you that little extra edge in your Week 12 matchups. All right, boys, like the cut of my jib. Give me a like. You have to pound the piss out of that like button, boys. Give us a share and comment all your questions, all your fantasy football questions in the comment section below. That's what helps these videos get off the ground and get into the recommended section of future Tankers Fantasy Football listeners. All right, holler at me.
I'm hot as fuck, bitch.